Well, Easter's almost here and travel plans are locked in. But what if your flight's delayed or cancelled and you're stranded? Compensation from the airlines would be nice.
We're not going to make it.
Sounds like you're a little bit angry.
Just a dash. It's frustrating with all the children.
You pick a date, pick a time, and then go to catch that flight. How can it go so wrong?
There was a couple of $15 vouchers.
Yeah. For
You
that
bought a
night.
coffee?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, yeah.
Is that good enough?
No.
No, absolutely
it's
not.
disgraceful.
Yeah.
Absolutely disgraceful.
And we all got about a quarter of a cup of warm water each, and that was it.
I think it definitely has got worse.
Flight cancellations, flight delays. If a current affairs inbox is any indication, it happens a lot and it makes us angry. Are our airlines taking us for a ride? And is there finally something we can do about it?
Australians just don't realise how badly we do have it here compared to in other countries.
The Australian Lawyers Alliance wants to make them pay. The ALA's Victoria Roy says the airline should cough up cash compensation when they stuff us around.
The EU, UK, Canada, but even India, Malaysia, Thailand, they all have flight delay compensation schemes.
Why aren't we doing that here?
Well, that's a good question. The COVID pandemic certainly showed that the Australian consumer law, which is the main law that protects consumer rights, has significant gaps in it when it comes to travel.
We're really pissed off. That's just totally
The post-COVID relaunch couldn't have been more turbulent.
No business should be delivering poor service like this, especially when you're paying a lot of money.
Customers stuck overseas, forking out, missing work and getting next to nothing back for delays and cancellations, all out of their control.
They shouldn't be taking people's money, getting you over there and then leaving you stranded.
But I think it was a Melbourne to Bali flight that was significantly delayed by over 6 hours. If that was under the EU scheme, those passengers would have been entitled to €600 or $1,000 worth of compensation.
The airlines blame the problems on match practice. But now we're so far down the runway, is it really just poor performance and a lack of accountability?
What has your airline done about the delays?
nothing at all. At the moment, no. We're just got to pay for our accommodation and hopefully try and get it reimbursed later on.
No food vouchers or?
Nope.
Nothing?
Nothing. So, yeah, we're on our own.
We found Melbourne mum Laura at Sydney Airport. She'd been trying to get home for 2 days.
You know, you've got your expense of your holiday, you've got extra expenses by having to stay extra nights, car hire, more food for lots of hungry children.
So in a nutshell, you've left where?
Gold Coast
Left the Gold Coast.
to Sydney.
To Sydney.
Stayed the night.
Yeah, because we missed the connecting flight from Sydney.
Then to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Then to Melbourne.
Did you actually make it to Thailand?
So
We did, yeah.
when we got to Melbourne, we were just about to board the flight with Jetstar, and they cancelled.
Charmaine and Ken could have gone around the world in the time it took for their flight to take off.
And we lost out on all our accommodation. We had flights booked to Koh Samui from Phuket. We missed all that.
It's not just Alan Joyce's time that's worth money. The
Fiona
everyday
Britton from
person-
Tassie is another disgruntled flyer, adding her voice to a compensation claim.
And because we have such restricted choice here in Australia, well, where else are you going to go? You know, how else do you solve the issue?
But there is a place which could change that.
So at the moment, the Australian government is doing an aviation white paper that they're consulting on, and that's why the Australian Lawyers Alliance is calling on the government to take this opportunity, learn lessons from COVID, and finally implement a flight delay compensation scheme of our own here.
Australian travellers Quentin Long says we should be careful what we wish for.
Obviously, the airlines don't want it because it actually adds to their administration burden and the risk in terms of compensation. But do we require a bit more incentive for the airlines to make sure that they actually provide great services? Probably.
There's no shortage of unhappy customers here.
Should you get compensation for these delays?
I wish, but it's not going to happen. I already know that it's not going to happen.
I'd say let's get it done, Albo.
Well, I hope you get home.
No worries, we do too.
Yeah, we do
Thanks
too.
very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And if you want to see change, let the government know what you think.